Guys, good morning. Is the market actually cooked? No one better to ask than 6,000 real estate agents all under one roof. The sentiment was rather unanimous. We're going to address that in a moment. Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Good morning.
Billy Drury with a fresh haircut from his mum.
Yeah. You got to stay sharp in
I
this
love
market.
You do. I love it. How good. How handy to have a mum as a hairdresser.
I know. It saves me a fortune. It's so convenient. So
How
good.
good's
Thanks,
that?
Mum.
Good haircut. Good haircut. Thanks, Mum. Thanks. You got the best mum too. So spending
Gold Coast.
spending a weekend with 6,000 real estate agents. There was a lot of talk on the streets about how's your market? And these real estate agents are coming from all over the place. They're coming as far as America, New Zealand, and obviously lots and lots from around Australia. But yeah, it was definitely the hottest topic of conversation. What's happening in your marketplace? Because there's so many markets within our country, aren't there?
And even within your local area, you've got lots of micro markets filtered down by price point and postcode and commercial, residential, it's all different. So to give you one big snapshot of how's the market, I don't think that's helpful to them, the average person who's just trying to figure out what's happening for them.
Which is exactly what the news does. And I'm reporting it all the time. The news, the news reporter on Channel 9 News doesn't come on and say, so, we've seen auction clearance rates are, sitting at blah, 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 only on the northern beaches. No, that's not what they say. They report Sydney-wide when they're reporting. And I'm always saying there's so many different markets, but there's no reality that the market changed quickly. Some real estate agents are saying the quickest they've ever seen since they've started in real estate. And some of these agents have been in the industry for well over 20 years. So there was a quick and swift change. No surprises there because we got whipped with interest rate hikes that no one saw coming, number one. And then we also got whipped with a budget that I think the vast majority of people speaking around 6,000 agents don't think was the best budget ever delivered, that's for sure, for property. But, the market has changed. And I do just want to draw down on something, though, Billy, that was unanimous across the board. And that was, it's not as bad as what people think it is out there. That's the truth. People are selling and buying for a variety of reasons. Divorces, someone's passed away in a family. They're moving jobs, they're, moving overseas, or they're in financial distress. And we see that all the time.
Yeah, I mean, those life changes don't stop regardless of what's happening in the economy. But there is a lot of tailwind at the moment putting downward pressure on prices, and it's easy to get caught up in that media where you're constantly consuming from places like social media and then the news and the TV, and if it's always in your ear, very easy to start listening to that, and even more so if that's the environment of the people you're around with and they're talking about it. So all the reasons you just listed, the war, interest rates, the budget, these are sort of the bigger macroeconomic impacts we're having on local prices.
But here's the reality, guys. If you are in this market expecting 2021 prices, it's going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky. So, for the vendors, and actually another conversation I was having yesterday with a real estate agent was it's been hard because properties that we appraised say 3 months ago, we're having to obviously reappraise them now because the market has softened. There's no doubt about it. And again, you know, if you're a vendor and you're expecting that you are going to hold out for a price that was there at 2021, which was the peak of the market, you probably just need to hold your property. That's the reality. And, you know, with regards to buyers, I mean, a lot of buyers are saying, you know, the market's down by 10, 15%. And it's like, well, put an offer in then at that level and let's take it to a vendor and get some instructions around that. But the big message that was coming out of this conference, and again, for anyone that's just tuned in, Mark and I have attended the largest conference, real estate conference in the Southern Hemisphere, AREC. Was that the market's not as it's not as good as it was, but it's not as bad as what people think.
Yep. And I think that's because of such a quick transition, it has been hard for people to adjust, like just even to get their head around it. When you're not transacting in real estate, I think the average person does it probably 3 or 4 times in their lifetime. When you're not doing it every day, every week, it's hard to get your head around it. Like for 10%, for 15% of someone's mortgage is crazy, you know, to get their head around. I mean, we're talking hundreds of thousands in some cases.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But it's more important than ever to have a super experienced real estate agent who can navigate through the choppy waters. You know, that is super, super important. And, you know, particularly in this market, I mean, I scratch my head at this conversation over, oh, I'm going with the other agent because they offer cheap commission. But I scratch my head more than ever now when people say, look, you know, we're opting to go with that agent because they were able to offer a cheap commission. The reality is you get what you pay for. And in this market more than ever, you'd want to have someone with lots of experience at navigating through these sorts of markets in your court. You really do,
Yep.
because the difference in a cheaper commission and, you know, what the vast majority of agents, good experienced agents are offering can often be the difference of, you know, maybe $1,000 or $2,000. I think you did that equation the other day, Billy. But you know, the difference in your end result and an experienced agent navigating you through these uncertain waters means everything.
Yeah. And then I'd love to address who are the clear winners in this market, because don't forget, there's huge opportunity when there's a divide. The clear winners I'm seeing at the moment are buyers that are ready to go from a finance perspective. The ones that are pre-approved are beating a huge amount of buyers that are just shopping and not really ready to make offers and transact quickly. And we're seeing that at the end of campaigns, because often there's just 1 or 2 buyers that are putting strong offers forward and then securing the properties. Whereas I reckon 6 months ago, we were seeing sort of 5 to 6 buyers per property at the end of a campaign. So that's an obvious one. I'm also seeing people that are transitioning upwards in property size or in debt doing really well, because they've actually taken a marginally bigger discount on their purchase than what they're taking on their sale. So there's another clear winner there. There's definitely good opportunity.
I love that. That's an awesome, awesome message. And here's the thing, here's the other thing that I'm not seeing in the market. The interest rates actually are not killing the market. It's the buyer confidence at the moment that is, where people are going, oh, you know, with their heads down, oh dear, you know, we're just going to wait. Everyone's saying it's really, really bad out there. Guys, this is the best buying opportunity that we've seen in years. So what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? I did an interview with Cotility. Tim, awesome guy. He's always reporting a lot about data. And he was saying, it's a little bit grim out there with respect to the data. And I said, Tim, what if I said to you that I feel like this market's going to do a rebound in about 6 months' time? There's a lack of stock hitting the market. And he looked at me like I was crazy. I said, let's just document this and let's go back in 6 months and just have a look and just see, you know, where things are at. But Billy, look at, you know, the lack of stock that is coming to the market. And isn't it always just a supply versus demand equation in our world?
Well, that's the simplest way to put it. More than anything else, it is supply and demand. And if you get 2 people too scared to move, it ultimately will dry up what's available to buy, and that in itself will help support prices. At least just carry them through for 6 months, whilst the other noise in the economy is settling down. So yeah, I think the reassuring message is just have a good look at what you're doing locally and try to remove yourself from Channel 7 News.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. I love that. I love that piece of advice. And then just finally, before we wrap up, I just want to mention, who are the people that are selling? Like, who are these vendors that are selling if we're saying prices are down and they're not where they were at 2021? And I'm suggesting they've come off the peak of the market prices in 2021 in our area on the Northern Beaches. I'm suggesting, actually, I want to ask you, Billy, what do you reckon?
So look, there's no doubt the market's changed. All the data suggests that October, November of 2025 was sort of the peak of that last calendar 12 month
Cycle.
But I'm now seeing properties that were selling in 2023 struggling to get back to the prices they paid. And so here's the buying opportunity. We've actually got a house on the market at the moment, and it's not nice circumstances to watch someone obviously take a financial impact from selling, but they 0.48 for it. We're guiding 2.2 to 2.3, assuming we get the top end of that range, 2.3. There's $180,000 discount there, and a buyer will come through, probably take maybe, call it 50 grand less on their $1 million apartment. That's a 5% discount, but they're picking up $180,000 discount on their house purchase.
Yep.
And that's then served.
And there it is, right?
And the numbers don't lie. They're still ahead. Take off 50, take off 180, they're still ahead, 130 grand, and that's hard to save.
Yep, I agree with you. So really good buying opportunities out there. The sorts of people that are selling, just before we wrap up, if I just have a look at the appraisals that I've been called into in the last week, I've got one this afternoon. They're actually residing overseas. They're going to be residing overseas. So they're selling off an investment property here. I've got a lovely lady who called me yesterday. Unfortunately, she's going through a divorce, so that property must be sold. And then I've got another young lady who called me. They've got a beautiful little garden apartment, and they're wanting to upgrade to a house. So the gap between them selling the garden apartment and then getting into a house is some of the best opportunity that they've seen over the years. And so now's the right time for them. So people are selling for a variety of reasons, but I'm really receiving a phone call of those vendors saying, it's bad, really bad. We've got to sell. I'm not getting those phone calls. Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Yep.
So there you go, guys. That's the consensus. Yes, the market's changed swiftly. Not as bad out there as what people think it is, but there's definitely a discount out there for buyers. And that's it. Hopefully we can help you guys with further information should you need it. We're here.
Yeah, good insight. Thank you.
There you
Have a
go.
good day.
Thanks, Billy. Go rock
See you
that
later.
hair. See ya. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.